This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome to the dynamic Simracersworld GT series live on the iRacing Esports Network. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me is Marco Barbanet, and we are here at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for the final round of the season. Marco, we love commentating on this series. It's been another terrific season, and whilst it is fantastic that we are here at the season finale, we're going to see the champions crowned tonight. At the same time, it is a little bit disappointing that we're going to have a break after this, but this Silverstone circuit 75-minute race, a fantastic way to round out season 5.
It is absolutely. Hello everyone, hello to you, Sam. Yes, I mean, bittersweet feeling as per usual when the final round of the season comes around. We still have the matter of the team titles to be given out, and of course the silver and bronze titles are still on the table, whilst of course in the overall and gold classes Martin van Loosenord got the official notification last week that he was the champion, and he has won every race he has taken part in. He only missed one because he was under the weather, but apart from that, whenever he raced, he has always won. And so we'll see if he's going to do basically a clean sweep at least of all the races he has taken part. We'll see if RevMatch Esports, UGX, the team inside the RevMatch Esports squadron, will do a clean sweep of all the victories, because the only other driver to win a race was of course Martin's teammate Kevin van der Slick, and of course the bronze and silver championships will go down the line. It is I think right that it goes this way, because those two categories have been basically uncertain on track every race until the final few minutes each and every week.
Yeah, so leading the way in the silver category then is Jeremy Hessels. Of course, this final round cannot be dropped for the drivers. This is an absolute must turn up race, otherwise you can lose a lot of points. And so, yeah, Jeremy Hessel's leading the way. He is 15 points ahead of Ingmar Andersson. Those two are definitely the big favourites. Nick Sherman's still with a mathematical chance. In fact, a few drivers have a mathematical chance, but really only Sherman's the only other one with a realistic opportunity. But mainly Hessels and Andersson Hessels would have to beat Anton by approximately 10 places. And just for a reference, he's actually outscored him by more than 15 points in the last 2 rounds. So this is certainly capable for him to bring back some points. So it could very much change very easily. In the bronze categories, after a very difficult start to the season, Jais Mujdi with a decent lead. However, again, it could change. 274 he is on. Closest challenger is Rob Thiessen with 247. That's going to be easy to remember. Thanks for that, guys. And so a decent amount of gap there. But again, 27 points. If you go back to Imola, well, Imola, to be fair, Thiessen didn't score particularly big. But if Mujdi doesn't finish like he did at Imola, and then Rob Thiessen or maybe William Bush as well, who's a further 8 points behind, if they could finish maybe in the top 15 places overall, they could get the points to turn the tide. So, like you said, Marco, it's just been brilliant to see this championship evolve. We say every week the organisers have done a fantastic job at dividing these categories. And yeah, it's going to go down to the final round of the season when in the past, usually it's been a little bit more simple, but far from it this season.
Yes, and of course we'll have to wait. By the way, we say hello to our race stewards, of course, Bart Delman and Peter Groves, and they will keep us up to date, of course. And we'll have, as per tradition, the big interview with Ian Roots, who is back on the racetrack and behind the wheel, so to speak, metaphorically, of the series, and we will have the traditional season-ending interview, looking for 30 points to secure 12th in class. I'm sure if he has a chance to finish 11th, he will be in the car on purpose.
I desperately hope that occurs. Currently sitting in 16th place overall, as you say, Marco in 13th.
Oh, we have Peter Growers, sorry Sam, for an interview apparently.
Awesome.
And the crowd is really asking for it, so here he comes. I will leave him into your capable hands.
Yes, Peter Grell's with us, the chief steward for this series. And Peter, great to talk to you. Final round of the championship, and it's been quite a success this season. It's this series just carries on growing and growing.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah, the last couple of races have been awesome. We've seen some really good driver standards. Where Barcelona was actually quite quiet for us, but yeah, I wanted to also let you guys know that this is the last race I'll be doing as race director. Um, I've want to move on to other things, try to get more stuff on my private time. So after this season, I will stay involved as a steward sometimes to help out, but no longer the lead man, so to speak.
It's a bit of a shame to hear, but I mean, I guess this season has still been very interesting for you to steward on. Is it stressful at all stewarding because you got to make some pretty big decisions in a short amount of time?
Well, yeah, it's pretty difficult to keep everybody satisfied. You know, some rulings have been disagreed on, but you're always going to get that. But we tried to approach this as professional and as objective as possible, and I think we did a pretty good job on that with the driver standards warning, which is not a very harsh penalty, but it keeps the drivers on their toes, and yeah, it's really helped before to get better driving standards.
Definitely. Would you say there's been a bit of an improvement this season in terms of driving standards?
Oh, definitely. I think if you look at last seasons, and there's been a rise in driver standards, and from Road Atlanta onwards, this season have all been pretty much terrific races. Really great to watch.
And how do you reckon today is going to play out? Of course, Barcelona was pretty good, but do you think this circuit could perhaps brew some collisions, or do you think it's going to be quite clean? Of course, 15 minutes extra as well.
Well, I think the run to the first corner will be pretty good because it's not such a slow corner. I think if we're going to see problems, they will probably be around corners 2 and 3, which are a lot slower. But yeah, there's a lot of room on this track, and I think that benefits the driver standards as well, because Barcelona is also a great A circuit, and that really helps, that the drivers can avoid collisions because they have lots of room on the track.
Well, it's been fantastic to talk to you, Peter, and best of luck, of course, for today. Before we let you go, is there any shout-outs you'd like to give to anyone?
Yeah, of course, Ian and the rest of the admin team, all a fantastic job. I already posted this on the Facebook group. The team of guys we have, you won't believe the amount of work they do to make this all possible. So I'm very privileged to be a part of this for the last couple of seasons, and I will stay involved, only not as much as I was before, because yeah, I'm gonna trying to balance some things out.
Well, awesome. Thanks for doing all that you've done this season, Peter, and certainly hope to speak to you soon.
Yeah, sure. Have a nice evening, guys. Enjoy the race.
And Sam, we just had on the screen the SRW guys were thanking Peter for his.
That's probably part.
Yeah. Good luck, Peter, with the rest of your night, and enjoy it you as well in the stewards room.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Enjoy the race.
And that was Peter Grauer. So another. It seems like every season we get a little bit of changes in this championship. Be it the drivers, some of them cannot commit to next season, or some of the guys behind the scenes. But the way this championship is so well organized, Sam, it's always there's a even though some faces change, the basis, the foundations are very good, and so the championship is in capable hands. Even though there is a little bit of new phases every season. And you were right in saying that we get a little bit extra, despite being the final race of the season. We're going to enjoy 15 more minutes of racing tonight, 75 minutes as per tradition of the season finale here in this championship. But for the first time ever, the season finale will be in Silverstone, and the new quote-unquote Silverstone, so the drivers will tackle it for the first time, and it is a different racetrack, I think, Sam, than the old quote-unquote Silverstone we had in iRacing up until a few months ago.
Yeah, and as Peter was saying previously, this is a grade A circuit. The old circuit, I guess, was grade A as well, but it didn't feel like that. This is a proper mega track, up there with probably Spa and Monza, Barcelona as well, in terms of the facilities around this place. Nürburgring's another one that comes to mind, a few of the American circuits. Whereas I guess the old one kind of felt as a classic British circuit, almost like a club circuit. It yeah, certainly wasn't what it is turned into now. I think the changes have been pretty positive. Hopefully these guys will enjoy it, and there's not too much experience for these guys around this place. But of course, this is a circuit that everyone is aware of very much, and putting in practice laps around here, there aren't too many better places in the world to do so. So we are into the final couple of minutes of qualifying, and at the moment, we have got Chris Warner on pole position. There seems to be someone missing.
Here he is.
Oh, there he is. Oh, late entrance.
But
Here
I
he
don't think
goes.
he will not make it back in time. So he's just
Well,
out
I mean,
there to say hello to the fans. Maybe he's taking this as a bit of a challenge, starting from the back. Is Martin van Loosenard, because there is no way he's going to make it back in time to do a fast lap. But enjoying the first, despite this domination, he only wrapped up the title last week. So it's the first race that he can do with peace of mind, basically. So I think he's trying to make make it interesting for himself, starting from the back, and we'll see what how many positions he will be able to gain.
he does like a challenge, does Martin. Originally, he was planning on running the McLaren 12C in this series. And you'll notice that is an option, but no one has taken it up. I dare I say, I think Martin would still have won this championship, even in the McLaren 12C, and he would have won quite a few rounds as well. Maybe not quite as many as he has done, but he is quite a driver. He has really shown some fantastic pace this season. PJ Clayson's just starting a lap now and trying to negotiate this first Abbey section. Checker flag is out on the circuit, so the drivers who have already started the lap can finish their lap. Everyone else has to stop. And Bod Bowden currently up in P3, a driver who usually struggles in qualifying, but really doing well. Danny Crow's in second place. I mean, it's odd, Mark, when one driver isn't there, and it completely changes the whole complexion of the event. I guess that was what it was like in the Schumacher years, where
Yeah, man,
Schumacher got in
that
the
was
race, and
what I
all
was
of a
about to
sudden,
say.
yeah,
I mean, you know me all too well now. They always used to say that if it wasn't for Schumacher and sometimes Barrichello, those boring seasons of the early 2000s would have been much more enjoyable. In fact, the year that Ferrari botched their car, 2003, was one of the best seasons I can remember. It was absolutely enthralling. It is not very well remembered that season, I think, in the heart of the fans, because in the end Ferrari won again. But we were so close to a Montoya or Raikkonen championship, and Raikkonen was, of course, driving a year-old McLaren. Let's not forget that in that championship. So it was, a very unique season, and it showed that if Ferrari were not as good as they were in the other seasons, the fight would have been crazy, and so it was. Okay, we have just a few drivers left. PJ Claessens, Ruben van Buel, Rob Thyssen, they are all coming on the start finish line. Claessens aborts his lap, but this won't be the same for Van Buel. I don't know why I'm seeing that Van Loosener is recording a lap time, but I don't think I think it's an out lap. Let's
yeah.
see.
No, yeah. This isn't a proper lap. He came out of the pits, I think, with about 100 seconds to go, and it
Yeah,
takes close to 2 minutes to get around this track. One of the longest cycles on the calendar. Probably only Spa, I imagine, is longer, but even that's, I mean, in terms of lap time, probably about 10 seconds more than this place. There goes Van Loosenhood, and he will start in 34th position. The man who has got so many pole positions this season. Out of the 11 rounds, surely something like 8 or 9, I imagine he's got pole position at, but not today. And it will be someone else on pole position. So what's going to happen out there? Van Loosen, of course, with the gold championship sealed up, but still the silver and the bronze very much open. And the teams as well. We'll try to keep an eye out on that. But certainly the silver and bronze categories could come down to the wire. So the grid then for this final round of the season at Silverstone, and it's Chris Warner on pole position. Danny Crow starts alongside him. Neither of these drivers have ever won a race in this series. Bod Boland has. He starts in third place, usually faster in the race than he is in qualifying, so that's dangerous signs for everyone else. Kevin Van der Slyck, the only other winner besides Martin Van Liesnold this season, starts in fourth. Then it's Tom Metherell and Lewis Ward lining up on the next row of the grid. PJ Claessens and Neil Cooper, Ruben Van Buel and Jeremy Hessels rounding out the top 10. Hessels, of course, in the lead of the silver category. He only needs to finish within about 15 places of Imra Anderson to win the title. Then it's Colin Karasani, a Joe who we're not too familiar with. Terrific qualifying though for him in 11th place. Then it's Chris Muretta, Ben Thames, Ingmar Anderson, Dries Mujdi for the leader of the bronze category. Of course, that's a terrific qualifying from him. There's Ewan Marshall, Sebastian Herbert, Rob Thiessen, Stephen DeWolf, Pim Bow, William Bush, Ian Roots on his return, Kevin Boland, Ronald Means, Stuart Musselwhite, James Hobden, Dyersberg, Ben Llewellyn, Lee Woodburn, Rory Verke rounds up the top 30, and behind that it's Steve Kastrop, Bram Van Utsven, Steve Clays, Martin Van Loosenhoek, car number 1, and also Marvin Lamont as well, starting at the back, and he is on the grid. So he will be taking part. So those two Rev Match drivers are going to be very dangerous, Marco.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see if they have, maybe they could go hand in hand in making their comeback through the field. It could happen. Could happen. Could be, one driver makes the passes and the other driver profits from that. We are going to do a very short pace lap, massive grid as per usual, minimal participation drop in this championship, sign of a good championship, sign of a championship that really makes it fun for their drivers to race them. And here we go, one more time in 2019. But of course, if you like Simracersworld action, well, you are in luck because the Endurance Series is coming very, very soon. And so you will enjoy these drivers and many more here on Apex Racing TV on our channel.
Here we go then. Lewis Ward couldn't take the start due to connection issues. He should get out onto the circuit later on. But out in the lead, it's Chris Warner versus Danny Crows. When will Warner go? Now he does. We are going green for the last time this season in the Dynamic Simracersworld GT Championship. Already a couple of drivers running very wide. That was Nick Cooper already gaining 2 places off the start.
Oh,
but
slow
a
down
massive slowdown for him, and that's going to cost him loads of time. Good start for Hessels, the championship leader, up into 7th place. Good start from Moretta as well. He's up 3 places from his starting place, but that is awful. Straight away for Neil Cooper, who got initially a fantastic launch. Is there going to be contact between the top two? There is contact, surely, but it's the tiniest amount, and Danny Crows does not go spinning. Chris Warner was extremely close, taking an extremely acute angle into that hairpin, but after all of that, it's the top 5 still in the same order.
Someone going very wide there, I think it was Steven the Wolf. Our championship leader is in P28 right now and trying to make a pass on Theisberg, and he is successful in doing so. So close there at the front between Warner and Kroos, but the situation remains the same, as this is not the end of the first lap. I am so old, Sam, that I get tricked every time by this. It's still, when I watch the British Grand Prix on TV, it still doesn't sit right to me, the change of the start-finish line.
I get confused whenever I see the MotoGP, and that is the finishing line still, and the start line, I believe. But no, unfortunately, this series does follow the new pit straight. So 0.3 of a second ahead is Danny Crow. Oh, sorry, is Chris Warner ahead of Danny Crows. But you can see a long train of cars. How many places has Martin Malusno again? He's gained 9 places. That's unsurprisingly the most in the entire field. Also, Mont's up 6 places, his teammate, but
collision between Caresani and Van Buel.
And that's Van Buel, and that is straight into the wall, along with Caresani, who was having a really good run. However, he might be able to continue. Not too much damage on that car. Gets the Mercedes back on that, might be an extra slowdown as well. So it's really wrecked his race, but, well, it's better than what's happened to Ruben Van Buel at that.
We can have a better perspective from the chopper. They touched, and then the rejoin there by Ruben was not ideal, so to speak, and that's the engine gone, and too bad because that's how his season will end. Going back to probably there will be a decision from the series. Going back to the topic of the straights, have you ever seen the European Le Mans series? I think you went to watch the WEC here once, no? Very, very recently.
Yes, I've been the last 2 years. I haven't seen the... No, well, I did see the European Le Mans series, yeah.
Yeah, and they start on the F1 start-finish line, but they pit on the old pit straight.
Yes, I did the pit walk.
Oh,
that.
of course. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Of course, fantastic access you get in those championships. Oh, we've got a spinner! It's Danny Crows! Unbelievable! And he has left plenty of other drivers to go through. Crows gets it going the right way. Hessels would just nick past. Another terrific race this is turning out to be for Jeremy Hessels after a brilliant round last week. But that is great disappointment there for Danny Crows. Wasn't fighting with anyone, just seemingly a lack of concentration. Dipped a tyre onto the grass on corner entry, and round he went.
Get a replay from the chopper. Yeah, you are absolutely right. slightly clipped the grass in the mistake. He was lucky because he avoided contact, and in the end he didn't lose too many positions. Also, I think Steve Clays had a bit of an off. There he is, and in fact he's sitting in P30. Oh, there was Kevin Bolland pointing in the wrong direction there. And then he spun. So let's see what happens between maybe Bolland and Moons. Bolland had the bright magenta car. Oh, 5 wide there. With Van Loosenord also. Oh, they almost collected him and Obden. Wow, that was so close for Obden, for Van Loosenord. In the end, only Moons and Bolland were involved in that mess. So, 5 minutes on the clock. We still have plenty left. Neil Cooper trying to put a move on Ingemar Andersson. Of course, Andersson in the fight for the silver title, but as Van Buel gets a warning for his collision, it's important. Every position matters now. Sam as Pinbao is having issues as well.
Yes. Val one of the front runners as well in that championship, but having a spin, not too much damage on that car. Of course, where Anderson's currently running up in 9th place is a really good race for Anderson. If something happened to Jeremy Hassels, and usually that silver class lead is a bit of a cursed position. Anyone who doubts that, just watch Sebring, where I think everything happened to the silver class leader. But usually that's a bit of a cursed position, so if he does fall way down the order, doesn't finish this race, Anderson might get the points to overhaul him. Here comes Neil Cooper though, and this might well benefit Hassels just a little bit because he'll go down the inside into Stowe Corner, and that is simple enough for him. Might be able to bend back all the rev match driver, but just bending all the way to the inside. Of course, Cooper really ought to be up in the top 5. He could have been in 4th place, I believe, at this point with the spin for Danny Kroes. Instead, he's a long way further back after picking up a slowdown, running wide at that very corner before the race had even started. And now straight away, Anderson under pressure from Ewan Marshall. So many overtaking opportunities on this circuit, a lot of wide corners, one of the widest circuits in the world, and that's what Marshall is going to try to utilise. He will wait though for a little bit longer before trying to get that 10th place.
Driver standards warning for Kevin Bolland for causing a collision. Mess earlier involving himself, Moons, and almost collecting other drivers. In the meantime, Danny Cruz is on a comeback and he just passed PJ Claessens for 5th position. Let's see how that came to be. Much faster here through this section of the track was Cruz. It was a good pass for him.
Van Loosenord up into 17th place. He's started 34th, has gained 17 places up into 17th. That might even be 16th now. Dean Roots, we see, he's dropped 1 place, has had an issue. I'm sure we'll get a chat with him later on about his race and about the series on a whole and the future Simracersworld projects. Of course, not only do we have the GT series, we've got the Endurance series, as Michael was saying earlier on, coming up in December. I believe entries for that are closed due to just the high demands from all the teams, especially in this series. But also the TCR series going up is going well, and of course the 2 GT3 leagues, which will be getting back going, I believe, in January or February. There goes Roots, upper place, as we've got side-by-side Crows trying to go round the outside of Clayton, so he's lost that place again. Seemingly a mistake from Danny Crows.
Yeah, he went slightly wide there. They are not going to give up. We saw some NASCAR style beating and banging on the doors, and they are not shy about it. It was like watching a TCR race for a second. And Claessens gets a position back, so in this little bit of a break in the action, let's see how it came to be. So they were already side by side here, then some contact. I would guess, and then the part that we both saw with a good exit there, going a bit wide, and then on the grass there, man, that was so close to disaster. I imagine the drivers and the stewards were a bit scared when that came to happen.
Yeah, that was a bit over-aggressive, but it was fantastic to watch at the same time. The two cars hitting one another and almost losing control down the straights. Still running wide. Of course, off-checks could be of importance in this event. I will keep an eye out on the instance. Oh, I can't see the instance. Well, that is brilliant, isn't it? Ian Reitz, he's come back and he's messed up the stewarding system. Well, thanks for that, Ian. So we'll be in the blind. So if the car disappears, it will probably be because they have exceeded the instant limit, which is very possible to see around this circuit. 25 instants, of course, for this extra long race. Carasini with another issue, it seems.
Yes, he is very slow, we don't know what happened. Sadly, with a very large track surface, it's a bit difficult to spot when someone makes a mistake. Here we go, Marshall on the inside of Anderson, and once again, we have talked about this at length, so this is maybe why they changed the rules. We were talking in the past, is it worth it for a silver driver to fight with a gold driver? This season, the answer is 100% yes, especially now. Every position matters. This is why Ingemar Anderson is doing his utmost to stay in front of Marshall, and if he loses the position to Marshall, quite quickly a queue of cars is starting to form behind him. As in the meantime, Moretta, defending hard on the comeback driver, trying to make a comeback there, Neil Cooper. So plenty of battles to look wherever we are, and in the meantime, Claesens got passed by Kroos once again. So there is really the need. I was about to ask iRacing about many times about the split screen functionality, which is going to be important if we want to have proper, stewarding. I mean, in the sense of official stewarding done by real life stewards, etc. No? You really need multi-cameras because you need to follow the action in different corners, etc. So, I mean, we are getting Lime Rock after I don't know how many years. So slowly the things will come to us.
Yes, definitely. Great news about that Lime Rock. I imagine that might be in the calendar for next season, but might be a bit risky. Kroos going to get overtaken again then by Claesens. Not quite sure why the following driver is quite so much quicker than the leading driver. Maybe it's because he's got a slowdown, Danny Kroos, although, he's miles offline now. Essels doesn't quite know what to do. Please don't get involved in a wreck, Jeremy, because he's driven a terrific season. And it would be very deserved if he won the title. Of course, challenged for it last season, won a few races, but lacked that consistency this season. He's got even faster and has also improved that consistency. So really has been great for him. There is Carasini then, who seemingly is out of the race.
Yeah, and this is what happened to Kevin Bolland, who also had a problem. In the meantime, Kroos gets once again past Jeremy Essels, so maybe a slowdown there. You were right for the driver in the number 63 Rev Match Esports car. At the front of the field, it's still Chris Warner for Fury, and of course Warner was, I think, the protagonist, together with Van Loosenaar, of the media day, which seems like, ages ago. And he actually led for half of the race before the pit stops. Then Van Loosenaar played a great strategy and, won the race. But he held his own against Van Loosenaar and company in that very race. Then a little bit of an up and down season for Chris, but he's always been there or thereabouts, which is, a victory tonight would certainly be the cherry on the top of a very, very good season for him.
Yeah, and I think it was Sebring when you unfortunately weren't able to commentate, Marco, where you very nearly won as well. I think he got pole position that race and fought Van Loosenaar right to the end. And Van Loosenaar after the race was so much, I was pushing as hard as I possibly could just to keep up with them. But in the end, I moved from Van Liesnold and wasn't able to respond was Warner. One of the races of the season, that, and this is turning into one of the races of the season because look at this train. A train from Danny Crowes in 6th place all the way down to Rob Thiessen in 13th. And you can see how many drivers are involved. Ben Day's doing a good job up in 12th place at the moment. Dries Mujdi a little bit detached from this. We've actually got Buzzman, Liesnod and Dries Mujdi on the same piece of circuit, which is pretty cool. Two of, well, one already confirmed champion and another driver he's looking to confirm his championship. Neil Cooper, we're running board with, of course, for Fury Sim Sport. Going into this race, the championship for the gold teams was a little bit up for grabs. We had Rev Match Esports RB Scale Works leading the way, about 80 points clear of Simracersworld Esports. And that is a one-man team. That is just Martin Van Liesnod since Robin Monster had to pull out from the series midway through. And so if Simracersworld has scored big, they could have probably caught up. However, Ruben Van Buell is currently out of the race, and Matthias Acic, I'm not sure if he's here today, so great shame for them. However, Fury Simsport might well get second place in that championship. They've got Warner, Cooper and Plowman, and Cooper and Warner are doing very good at the moment. So if something happens to Van Liesnod, and these two finish in the top 5, they could still win the title. So keep that in mind.
Iceberg is doing a little bit, I think, of gardening work around the racetrack, and he has lost a couple of positions. So let's see what happened. Maybe he went a bit wide, yeah. And even some more groundskeeping there, and cost him about a couple of spots to Ben Llewellyn and Roy Verveck.
Bush and De Wolf going side by side. Just enough room for the 39 car. Issue for Stephen Castrop, who is now disconnected from the session.
Yeah, he probably knew that he realized that the car was not working anymore, and so he pulled out of the race. So Chris Warner now with 2 seconds over Boland, Van der Slick, the Rev Match Esports duo. Tom Metral following closely in 3rd. His teammate PJ Claeson's now back in front of Danny Cruz. Essel's having a fantastic drive, and when you know that, knowing the new point system, new for this season of course. Oh, Anderson went wide, then back on the track. So the one way you can be sure of bringing your class title home is put as many. Oh!
Where's Cruz has disappeared? Oh, he dislikes that corner. Has he made the same mistake? I doubt it. I assume he's got a slide midway through the corner and overcorrected it.
It's also tire smoke. With a bit too much mustard there.
I wonder if that was... I mean, that was way too much speed, I think. Maybe there was some kind of hardware issue. Did he even brake for that?
Do we have a camera that shows the rear end of the car? Yeah, he was braking, but you know, it's easy. You can get distracted checking your fuel, whatever. So I know all about it, unfortunately. So I was talking about you get you know, the most positions between yourself and your closest rivals. You are 100% sure you're going to gain a big chunk of points. So this is why I think what Jeremy Essels is doing tonight.
Yep,
You were about to ask me a question, which I'm sure I know where it's going to go. A race in Bathurst.
No, actually, I was going to be more complimentary. I was going to say, well, you didn't look at your fuel for an entire 12 hours at Sebring.
Ah, of course.
So
I
I
mean,
wouldn't highlight your Bathurst tragedy. Um,
you
it
know,
was
it's
very
easier.
dark as well. It was literally impossible to see
Yeah,
anything,
someone
especially
made a
with the old,
scheduling.
old headlights.
Speaking of scheduling mistakes, and Ian Roots, talk about you. You made a little bit of a big scheduling mistake there, but it was
It wasn't my fault.
an
I
honest mistake.
maintain I put the right values in. I play iRacing, which otherwise is a fantastic game. Not game, simulator. Oh dear, we're
Not
going to get
simulator,
shut down.
service. It's a
Service,
service.
there you go.
You know, it's easier in the enduros, you know, because you don't really have to worry about the fuel. You need to stop every X hours and put a full tank. No, you only start backtracking, so doing the calculations from the end of the race backwards when you get in the final 3-4 hours. No. But you know, I didn't have any reason to look at my fuel numbers during the race. By the way, Warner now only 1.3 seconds over second place, and Van Loosener now in the thick of the battle, knocking on the doors of the top 10. Next in line will be Ewan Marshall in his Mercedes for Meraki.
Usually quite cautious is Martin when it comes to overtaking. That was decisive, to say the least. And gets his way through. Who's that just behind? Is that Rob Thiessen? No, it's Ben Thames. Rob Thiessen just a little bit further behind. You can see him there. But Van Liesnold, yeah, up into the top 10, up 24 places now. By the way, a little bit of a word for Lewis Ward, who was meant to start this race up in 6th place. So had a terrific chance at a really good result. Unfortunately, had connection issues before the race even started in qualifying, and only got back into the session properly just as the formation lap, I think, started. So he started right from the back, and he is up into 18th place. So that is approximately 25 places gained for him. So a couple of very good drives through the field. Also, Marvin Amont's up 20 places, up into 16th as we speak. But out in the lead, top 4 separated by 3 seconds. Warner, Boland, Vandersleck, and Methel. Good shot of them all going down the straight. You can also see Clayson's in the background. I mean, right now, Mark, I can't rule out Martin Van Liesnold. You can see him a little bit further back in his fifth match Ferrari. He's you can almost see them potentially. I'm not quite sure. Maybe at the top of the star, you might be able to see them across the start-finish line. It is still possible, pretty much just due to the fact that we've got an extra 15 minutes in this race.
Yes, clean air is important. Fastest lap of the race so far was by Warner, 57.9, 58.0 for Van Loosenord, who is the closest fast despite being in a bit of traffic. But I agree with you. You can certainly have that extra bit of time, those 15 extra minutes. It will not change the strategy in the sense that they will only have to do one stop as Van Loosenord gets past his teammate Anderson. But it certainly makes comebacks a bit easier. We are having some weird rumors. I mean, I know I'm a great driver, but they are saying that I won the 24-hour of Sebring in the chat, which is... we are working on that. We are organizing it, I think, here on Apex, just so that I can win it. I will actually pay for a 24-hour hosted session, which I will run on my own, all 24 hours. One day.
I mean, if anyone missed last week's broadcast, Marco has openly asked for drivers to accompany him on his mission to win Daytona next season. So if you feel like winning Daytona, well, Marco is your surefire ticket to the top step of the podium.
This should have been a secret, but we are already in training for Daytona. In fact, me and my co-driver from Sebring, we will run in the VRS Endurance Series on Saturday in the Mercedes. So we are already hard at work. And you know that I should have raced in this championship?
I didn't.
just before I got offered the job to do cameras for it. So,
Well, imagine
all
that. We'd be saying right now, Marco Barbanera,
be,
gold
be,
class victory. Martin
no,
Van Liesnold, who?
Oof.
Running down in second place. Always thinking, oh, if only I could somehow challenge that Italian one day. Ah, but no, instead you're up here.
I just want to tell you that for reference, every once in a while I race against Lee Woodburn, which is a very quick driver in the Ferrari fixed, and he smokes me by like 2-3 seconds per lap. So I think I would be more around in the region of the 30th place, last of the running cars.
So this pack has spread out a little bit. Got Hessel still only 1.3 seconds behind places, then Cooper, then 2.5 seconds back to, or as we see side by side now with Hessels and Cooper. Cooper's got a decent chance at 5th place here, and like I said, if Warner and Cooper can finish in the top 5, and if Van Loosenord doesn't finish this race, it will be a Fury Simsport Teams Championship. But as long as Van Loosenord scores some points, kind of gets the top 20 perhaps, that will be enough to confirm it. But staying into one of the best races of the season for Fury Simsport, a team who have got better and better as the season has gone on. And Cooper just trying to get back up to 6th place because was running up in 5th when he got his slowdown penalty about 5 seconds after the green flag.
Issues for Bram van Uitven sitting in P29. I think just a spin. Yes. I think sporting some damage as still Hessels is enjoying some very hard racing with Cooper. Let's jump on board with the Fury Simsport number 75. Oh no! We have a big surprise here. Oh!
That's another rev match driver, isn't it? Rob Thiessen. Is this the silver class title being decided before our eyes? Rob Thiessen, another Joe who's got a decent, well, I say a decent chance, an outside chance of the bronze title. And they've both had issues. Seemingly they're staying okay fighting Moranson, but that has really hindered his efforts.
Let's see, because it seemed like they clipped each other, and usually at that angle, at those speeds, you get some big suspension damage. Oh wow! That car went flying through the air. And surprisingly, Thiesen's car seems to be okay. White Cooper gets past Hessels while we watch the replay. And that was some massive air on that car.
That's just one of the worst feelings in iRacing. There's a few bad feelings, for example, a slowdown. But when you see a driver just edge across the circuit and you realise a couple of seconds prior that you're going to hit them. Fortunately, very unlucky there. Hessel seemingly lets him past Neil Cooper there, just dabbing on the brakes a couple of times. That's usually a signal from the drivers that they're not going to fight going into the next corner. And so Neil Cooper up into 6th place. And Thames chasing down Ewan Marshall. This for the last spot in the top 10. They now got 6 seconds back to Rob Thiessen after that collision. Didn't lose many places, did those guys? Fighting with the bronze class champion to be, arguably. Dries Mujdi in 14th place. And Thames struggling to keep up at the moment with Ewan Marshall down this hangar straight. Good on the brakes though. So overtaking will be possible, I'm sure.
This part of the track always makes me think about the old Silverstone Southern layout, which on iRacing basically has a quote-unquote pit lane in the runoff area of the corner. Oh, Rob Thiessen! Where is he? Oh, Rob Thiessen is okay. I saw someone drop many positions, but no, that was not the case, so apologies. Meantime, Van Loosenord gets past Hessels. It was a connection issue here. Let's see it once again. We had this fight here. The teammates who came to blows earlier. Clive. Pimbao and Lee Woodburn, I'm afraid, made contact. Here they are. Or maybe they both went wide. Let's see what happened. No, they both went wide. Everything is good as Ian Roots is sitting in P22, which is 11 times 2. That is going to be ruined by this unruly driver, Ben Llewellyn. Ooh, goes a bit wide. Maybe he's listening to us. Wants to give the position back. Great fight here. He gets a spot. Here comes a silver driver now in Roy Verbeek. Let's jump on board with the Ferrari. Of course, tears all over the iRacing farmers, which loved and used the Ferrari fixed series to, you know, gain some iRating for basically free, because as Anderson's got an issue, because they will replace the series, I don't know if you know it, at the end of the season.
What with?
The BMW GTE fixed.
Right, okay. It doesn't quite have the same ring about it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
the
lie.
Ferrari Challenge is going to be the BMW 12.0. You know, they have the BMW 120 special event, no? It gives you tickets for Le Mans. This is going to be the BMW 12.0 series with 12-minute races on 3 tracks with GTE, D-Class, God save us.
To be fair, the BMW, the easiest of the GTEs to drive, but undoubtedly will be, will be interesting. Maybe we should just broadcast that on Apex Racing TV. I don't think it'd give iRacing the best name, to be honest, to maybe see some of those races. But this has been terrific racing. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the season. I'm sure many of you watching along maybe hadn't ever heard this series before 12 weeks ago, 3 months ago. But certainly is one of the best series on all of iRacing. And despite a relatively simple format, just this hour-long race normally, 75 minutes for today. It has been absolutely successful and continues to go on, will undoubtedly be back next season. And of course, if you want to get involved, just check on, I think they've got a Facebook page. There's certainly
Yes.
Simracersworld team. That is a Facebook page, and also there's a fantastic community group of about 1,000 members currently for the Simracersworld kind of series. So certainly try to join that, because there's some fantastic discussion on there, and you'll keep up to date with all the series news. Here comes Dries Moosdi, leader
Fight
of
for the
the
lead.
Bronze Championship. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Fighting for the lead here. Rob Thiessen, who had a terrific start, you wonder where he would have been if it weren't for that collision with his own teammate Ingmar Andersson. He'd be much further down the road. Thiessen has to beat Moosdi, of course, to win the title, but by far more places than he's currently ahead. And after seeing a big pack of cars from about 6th place down to 13th place earlier on, we've now got a pack of cars from about 12th place down to 17th.
Fantastic fight here. We know we will see how much will Dries Moosdi risk. Of course, one thing you can say about him, of course, his pace is fantastic. He's also gotten better and better at fuel calculations. We saw him put a little bit extra fuel as of late.
I mean, he started off from a low level, safe to say.
Now once again here for the lead in bronze. Blocking on the inside, the Moosdi goes on the outside. Tough to make it work because there are other cars there. Good defending there from Rob Thiessen. Rev Match Esports versus Dynamics versus Gold Driver in Seb Eberer. And also a Mans is coming. Let's watch from the rear of the number 311 Audi. I'm very glad that you use this numbering system for the American GT series that is about to come. Some drivers were upset about not being able to pick their favorite number.
I mean, whose favorite number is 3 digits? Honestly. I mean, 99 numbers is enough, surely. But no. I mean, no one's date of birth has got 3 digits in it, does it? I mean, come on. To be fair, my favourite number would actually make sense to be a 3-digit number, but no, 71 for the win. Ward trying to get in amongst these drivers now. And he's made up 1 place, got past Ingman, so he's coming into the pits to fix some of that damage, although he'll be limited to see what he can do. So Ward is now at the back of this. It's Amont and Herbert. Amont's now up 22 places as they overtake the Ingmar Anderson, who's just trundling down the pit lane. By the way, hopefully no one will get any ideas for the last lap, but in the ARLTC series, which of course will be back on Thursday, every Thursday on the iRacing Esports Network, we had a driver who decided to come into the pits on the last lap of the race and gained about 4 places because he cut the final couple of corners.
I knew
Keep an eye out on that for the last lap.
I mean, they put an hotfix out when the track came out to reduce the pit speed, so that was to avoid people setting pole position by going through the pits. But in fact, you are right. This doesn't change the fact that you can still cut those corners. You know, so yeah.
We didn't give him a penalty, I seem to remember. It was very... It was kind of 3-all, I think, among the stewards, whether or not to give him a penalty, but it has certainly been outlawed for the future. I don't think any rules to be made for this series, though, as Rob Thiessen having to defend from Dries Mujdi, who runs a bit wide. Marvin Amont will inevitably get past these guys. You feel Amont's one of the very top drivers in this championship, only this far down because of not taking part in qualifying. They all get pretty good exits, though. From the Maggots, Beckett's Chapel section and down the Hangar Straight. Once again, Mujdi in with a chance. The straight line speed of that Audi seems really impressive for the Dynamics driver. But there's no way past at the moment, and now he's really got to look not just behind him, but alongside him, as into the pits comes Marvin Amont. Had enough of that battle. He wants to get some clean air. It's very much clear then, after the pit stop for Anderson as well, that the pit window is open and the drivers can get to the end of the race with 1 more stop from here.
Smart decision. No need to get stuck in traffic. It's getting closer for second place, by the way. Here's Boland and here is Van der Sliek. Now the gap is 0.7. Small mistake there from Van der Sliek, but really has been chipping away at that lead, or at least that gap. At the front, Warner, after a little bit of a couple of mistakes here and there, is back to 2.5 seconds lead over the closest rival, and now about to put somebody 1 lap down. That will be Ingemar Andersson after his pit stop. Steve Claes is in the wall and now in the pits, so little bit of a down ending to the season for Steve, who has had some negative results, if I'm not mistaken, in this second part of the championship.
Might still win the Teams Championship though. Bevmatch Esports UGX Belgium. That is in the Silver Teams Championship, not the Gold. And they are currently 113 points ahead of Simracersworld, who have got Shermans, Mias and Dupin. And with Mias and Dupin not here today, I believe, I don't think Simracersworld will be able to eclipse them. So, a little bit of a somber way to end the season for them. Also the fact that Thanes is doing well too out there, and Anderson struggling a bit. So, probably, yeah, not a fantastic way to end that season for those guys, but it's what you do for the previous 11 rounds, which have brought them that title, it seems.
This is something that people should understand when they point out failures in the final race of the year, or the final match of the football season, or a final, you know. It's what you do beforehand that also matters to put you in that situation. The points you score in the first race are as important as the points that you score in the last race, believe it or not. So, Cooper is in, so is Thiessen, Mujdi, and so let's follow this fight here, because this is the fight for the lead in bronze, and Mujdi has been closing and closing, but didn't pull the trigger on a move. So let's see who is going to come out first Pits here at Silverstone are a little bit below the racing surface, just like in Vallelunga, by the way, which makes it a bit difficult for the fans to spot what's happening in the pit lane. But we have the power of the cameras, and we will see who's going to come out first between these two drivers. Mujdi is in the white and black car. It seems like he's taking that traditional extra bit of fuel just to be safe. Thiessen gets back into the lead.
25 seconds for Thiessen, and Mons 24, who is getting past Thiessen as we speak. Mons has jumped those two drivers, was behind Thiessen and Mujdi, but is now ahead. Meanwhile, Cooper had what happened to Neil Cooper?
He pitted. A very long pit stop.
A very long pit stop for him.
1 minute 31, so maybe he got a penalty.
Tires. That would make sense if he took tyres, because that would... Well, no, actually, no, it wouldn't, would it? Oh dear, now I'm very confused. Yeah, he could have taken tyres. I don't know why you would take tyres.
He took tyres.
He took tyres, there you go. We got to the bottom of this. I am Sherlock Holmes. Unfortunately, though, we saw a driver in the World Ben Llewellyn out of the race. And not the way he would have wanted to end the season, but still has had some pretty good results this season as Ben. I imagine will retain his spot for next season.
Oh yes, of course, we need to talk about that as well. You need to be in a certain number, in a certain position. There is a cut-off, if I'm not mistaken, Sam, where if you are below that, your spot will be up for grabs next season when the sign-ups come for the championship. And of course, I think some of the best performers in the Evo series will be granted priority access to the league. It's crazy to think as everyone goes in behind Busch, Verwecke, Van der Berg and Bau. Crazy how popular this league is. I mean, it was popular already when we started covering it for the final round a few seasons ago of season 2 in Spa. But it's, and you know, sometimes when you hear league organizers talk about having big projects, usually it's just words, just big words, big talk with no real ideas behind it. But no, Ian Roots was certainly meaning his words when he said that the league was on the up as Bod Boland goes in, and he knew that we were in a private chat, himself, me, Alex Simpson, I think, and someone else, maybe you, I don't remember. And he was laying down the plans for the future, and was talking about how the coverage would give the league even more importance, even more prestige, even more drivers. And that was exactly what happened. It's rare that a league becomes more and more popular and still keeps his spirit, still keeps his values and its quality. But this is exactly what has been going on with Simracersworld and the Pro Championship. Not only that, but of course, like we were talking earlier, they are also expanding with the Evo series, the TCR series, the Enduro League, which is coming very, very soon once again. Cannot wait for that. Not a bad way to spend a national holiday here in Italy on the 8th of December. And of course, you know, that also what also means that it's going to be a long broadcast, so I will get rid of the responsibility of putting up the Christmas tree this year.
I also will have Chaz Jacob hopefully joining us for that. He's a bit of a celebrity, I think. I don't know. I feel like he should be. It's Chaz LinkedIn, of course, on social media, and has done many real life commentaries, done very well for himself this past year or so, and he should be joining us in the box, so it should be very fun, that broadcast. We will ask Ian Roots later on if sign-ups are still open for that championship, because I would love to give everyone an opportunity to take part, but places are at a demand, to say the least. Will feature TCR cars, the GT4 cars, hopefully, if they are released, GT3 cars also, and the Porsche Cup cars. So all relatively similar paced Should be very good. So Kevin Van Slyck, Tom Methel, Martin Van Loosenord, PJ Claytons, pretty much everyone who hasn't already pitted coming into the pits on this lap. So, before the pit stops, Warner was leading. He actually had a pretty good pit stop, 24.17 seconds. Bod Boland had a 25.2 second pit stop. Kevin Van Slyck was just behind those two just, however, he was right on the tail of Boland. So, as Van der Slyck pulls into his pit box, if he has a pit stop of about 24 seconds, it's going to be close. Any less than that, and you'd expect him to jump Bod Boland. So these are important moments right here. Of course, if you can have a 21-second pit stop, then it could be changed for the lead. But we're getting to 22 seconds. That is very quick for Kevin Van der Slyck as he comes up the hill. Very unusual pit exit. There goes Chris Warner, and he's pretty close to Warner. It's a comfortable P2 for him ahead of Bod Boland. So the jump has worked for Kevin Van der Slyck, the Rev Match Racing driver, up into second place. There he is, and I mean, that's worked brilliantly for him, Marco. He's gained about 2.5 seconds on the race leader there.
Yes, and now only half an hour, so it's going to be a big sprint until the end of the race. I was thinking about something, I don't know if you forgot about it, but you know, we have the important task of giving the Driver of the Day award. But if you remember, we have been tasked by Ian Roots to also award the Driver of the Season, you know, and
Cool.
I think we'll have to produce the name by the end of this race. And I would say that I don't know who is going to be the Driver of the Day, as we have this attack from Cooper on Mujdi, still fighting with Thyssen, but I'm pretty sure I know who is going to be the Driver of the Season. There are some messages on the screen. I thank you, but whoever wrote it, it was not me. It was not me
This
who
is
put
outrageous.
this message on the screen.
That makes
And
me the worst commentator of
yeah,
the season.
you are absolutely right. We know there's been a grudge between yourself and the stewards this season. The missing invitation to the beer party, for example. I know it's still very hard for you.
I mean, I try not to even think about all the other events you've not invited me to be honest. There's probably an end of season party after this, isn't there? Which I haven't been invited to. Well, next season maybe. Chris Warner leading the way. Hopefully he won't get abused by the stewards. He hasn't done anything untoward so far. Pull up that for Kevin Van der Slyck, so he had got to about within 2
Sorry.
seconds.
Sorry. I'll wait for you,
You know,
to read.
have you looked for anyone else to do commentary on this series next season? You know, I don't fancy it.
Come on, being a sidekick is not bad. You are the superhero's best friend.
When there's only 2 people, the sidekick's the worst part.
I mean, would you rather be Robin or just a random bad guy in Batman? I would like to be Robin.
I guess. I'd rather be Batman, to be honest, but that's not going to happen.
Great fight for second place in the meantime. Van der Slyck got a good jump, but seems like Boland has some extra pace. Also stopping, a couple of laps later. I think his tires are a little bit more in temperature. No, sorry, he stopped on one lap earlier. Sorry, so yeah, that is, I think, oh, we have a pass there. For a second, Mujdi got past Thyssen, but then the positions were swapped once again. Fantastic fight here, and Mujdi doesn't want to give up, and this could be a battle that we bring. I mean, Mujdi lost a bit of time in the pits, taking it easy and safe on the fuel strategy, but I think he has the pace. Thyssen, of course, has the damage, collision with his teammate. Now it could be a good chance. No, it's not,
So,
as Ingemar Andersson gets a driver standard warning for collision with Pim Bow, which we have, I think, missed on the cameras.
That is strange, as they are teammates. I don't remember Pim. Yes, he really has fallen back as Ingmaranson since that pit stop. Took a extra 30 seconds in his pit stop just to get some of that damage fixed, as we got Dries Mujde all the way around the outside. What a move at Stowe Corner. It's not over and done with yet. Still got to be brave on the brakes there. The 377 car gets the move done. He's up into the lead of the bronze category. The championship looking as though it will go his way. And now it looks as though this race win. Here, oh, wow.
Oh,
So
Moons
that
also
was...
got collected. Oh, bad luck there. Bad luck there, so glad that we got to the bottom of it. There's a reason why I'm the commentator of the season. But, you know, that was a little bit over-optimistic, to go back on a serious note from Anderson. Too bad, you know, Moons is also in the pits. Look at the damage on his car. And that's going to be tough, so... You know, Anderson maybe sensing the title chances going, you know, getting, you know, less probable by the hour, or by the minutes, I should say. Maybe lost a little bit of composure there. Great pass there from Dries Mujdi to get into the lead of the class. Leader of the silver is Dynamics Racing One's own Jeremy Essels. Tom Methrel and Marten van Luzenoord are now going at it, with van Luzenoord, who is 8.5 seconds behind the race leader. And you can see it on track map, they are very, very close. I mean, 8 seconds is nothing.
He was 15 seconds behind, I believe, at one point, so he's been dragging it back. We haven't really been focusing on the race lead too much in this race. There's been so much else going on out on circuit for the other race, the class leads as well. There's Neil Cooper trying to get past Marvin amongst these two, both a bit out of position. Of course, Cooper took tyres at his last pit stop and maybe fixed a little bit of damage as well. So he should be very quick, should Cooper. He ought to probably be one of the quickest drivers out on circuit. As other drivers struggle with this quite hot track temperature, he could well be very quick towards the end of the race. 29 degrees and rising this track as it's 9:30 in the morning at Silverstone. Martin van Luzenoord then, he's lining up this move to get past Tom Methrel. This isn't too important in terms of, this is kind of more when rather than if. And he's got the inside line into Copse Corner. Not easy to do, it's such a fast sweeper this. But Van Luzenoord gets enough of his car alongside. He's up into 4th place. 3 more cars to overtake for his 11th race victory of the season. And, well, if he could make this one, then this would be the most incredible. I think Coulter, to be fair, was possibly the most impressive. The fact that he won by 30-odd seconds and was taking the foot off the gas in the closing stages. So if he could get a last place to win here, that would be very close to it, undoubtedly. Is Cooper trying to do the same move on Marvin and Mons, of course, Van Luzenoord's teammates. And Mons stays firm. They are now 8 seconds behind Lewis Ward up the road, who is having an incredible race. Yeah, Lewis Ward, apologies to Lewis. The problem is on our screens, and if you've got the live timing up on a web page, which you can do, there'll be a link in the description, I'm sure. You can see Lewis Ward is down 5 places from his start. However, he didn't take the start. He actually started all but last. And so, in fact, he did start last. And so the fact that he's up in 11th place is about 30 places gained for him. Brilliant recovery for him. He is ahead of those drivers, Marvin Amons and Neil Cooper. Cooper still can't get.
Yes, Cooper is trying everything. Hopefully this doesn't become another situation like the one we had with Ingemar Anderson with Cooper. Of course, you know, he's gotta be frustrated because, sorry, he made that mistake earlier. Well, I say earlier, it was at the very, not even in the first corner of the race, going wide and getting a slowdown. So getting a slowdown on the first lap, very bad. Getting a slowdown before the start-finish line with the group basically completely bunched up, it's dangerous and also terrible for your race. And so he's been on the comeback trail ever since, and now he's found this very, very tough cookie in Marvin Amans. And he's not going to be passed very, very easily. Also because Amans is another one of those drivers, also himself on a comeback trail. It's almost like he made a bet with Van Loosenhoorn and see who could gain more positions. Amans now defending, getting very impatient is Cooper. They almost come to blows there. Hopefully this remains a very, very nice fight on the field.
Yeah, Cooper knows he could
Marvin
be
had
going
a
off
qualifying ban. Sorry, Sam. Thank you, the stewards. He had a qualifying ban. So I, as per usual, misspoke.
I've done BSR before, and I've thought, why not these guys taking the grid? Anyone who doesn't know BSR, there are quite a few pit lane starts that just have to serve. Cooper with the dummy. Into Stowe, that's going to be contact. Now, how the stewards will decide on that one, I'm not sure. So far, their judgment today has been pretty atrocious, safe to say, when it comes to certain issues. But we'll see how they deal with that one.
I'm afraid
oh dear,
something
there has been
happened.
a follow-up. Cooper's actually got away with that with less damage, despite, I feel, being the recipient of the tangle. Let's see this one. I'm not sure if I do want to see it. This is Marvin Amons. And, yeah, the brakes just struggling. Maybe it was the old tyres on that car, but...
It reminds us of the day of the BSR Porsche Cup. Remember those days, Imola?
Oh, yes. Don't say that. He's actually my teammate. So, and he's taking part in the American GT as well.
I didn't say anything.
So,
it was Ryan who said something. I actually predicted what was going to happen because I was just on the cameras that night, and my great experience on American racing was worthy for once. So we wait on the screen. You will see the steward decision coming up very quickly. It's going to be, I was about to say last 5 minutes of the race, no, because we have that extra bonus 15 minutes, so in fact it's 20 minutes left. Race that has really flown by, as Neil Cooper is having some issues, of course with some damage. Here comes Driz Mujdi, leader of the bronze class, leader of the bronze championship. He lifted, didn't want to force the issue, and I think he's doing good. There is no reason to risk a collision there, especially since you know that, like I said many times tonight, every position counts, and so you don't want to throw a whole season of work down the drain with a small mistake or a big mistake like that. So we'll wait for the clock to tick over the 1 hour mark in just 3 minutes, and I say a little bit later than usual the recap of the positions. Chris Warner, your leader in the overall and gold class. Trying is only 18 minutes away from breaking the Rev Match Esports domination on the top step of the podium. Kevin van der Slik sitting in second, leading the Rev Match as a drive-through penalty for Marvin Amans. Is the decision of the stewards. Leading the Rev Match Esports train, Bot Boland behind him, and who's here, Martin van Loosenhoorn, trying to get on the podium. 5th position for Tom Metherell. In the silver class, 7th place, Jeremy Essels, looking to bring home the title. His next and closest competitor is Ben Thanes, sitting in P9. Then we have Steven De Wolf, who is on the class podium, Stuart Musselwhite, and finally Roy Verbeek for Automech. And in bronze, of course, the leader of the bronze class, Driz Mujdi, in front of Rob Thyssen, who has been passed. As in the meantime, we have this overtake from... Oh, wow! Van der Slik with some big damage in the final corner.
6 seconds off the lead, running in second place. And that's it for Kevin van der Slik. That is going to be pretty much terminal damage, I imagine. And this is how it happened to him.
It's a very strange place to crash, if you ask me. Oh! Go back live because we might have round 3. Remember that Amans has got a penalty to serve, so Cooper doesn't need to force the issue.
Wonder if Cooper will know that though. I don't think again, he's got the same predicament as he had earlier on. He's faster. He wants to get past. He wants to go and catch up to the other drivers, but he just... Oh, here we go. Down the inside. There's going to be contact again. And scythe his way down. Now,
look at that. Mujdi needs to be
monster
careful.
there.
No!
That's not what we want to see whatsoever.
No,
Mujdi moves through past the pair of them.
Especially when you risk to collect the leader of the bronze class and guy trying to fight for a championship. We need to be careful here. This is not what we want to show, but we also have the duty to report, to show you what happens on the track without any kind of filter or censor, of course, in the, with the limits of what we can and can't show. Yeah. Oh, and Bentains also has gotten wide, very wide, gardening work there. This is going to be bad for Amans because I don't want to be replaced to replace the judges as Van Loosenhoorn goes in second amidst all the chaos. But it's bad when you have a penalty, an outstanding penalty, because he still hasn't served it, and then you commit another. You have another problem like that. So, yeah, it's the last race of the season, but I'm expecting a big penalty. There will be a disqualification for Marvin Amans. That is what I'm hearing in the background. We'll wait for official confirmation, of course. Drive-through penalty for Amans, I think, for the other wreck there, and now can I tell you something? Neil Cooper's car is holding on surprisingly well after being hit in several positions at very high speeds, might I add.
The knee damage model cannot come far enough away for Neil Cooper, because he's still got all those parts. I feel as though when we get the knee damage, well, hopefully for the GT3 cars this next build, he'll would have lost his rear wing by this point. Here he goes into the hairpin. Likes those kind of dummy moves, kind of going for the surprise attack on his rival, but just wasn't quite an option there. By the way, something that we haven't really looked at all day long is actually the Bronze Teams Championship. So currently, Dynamics Racing leads the way. Theisberg, Dries Mujdi, and Robbie Bouchon. Only Dries Mujdi running in today's race. They are 24 points ahead of RevMatch Esports Academy Oitert. That consists of Rob Thiessen, Pimbau, and Stephen Castrop. Now, how are those drivers doing? Thiessen, Rao, and Castrop. So Thiessen is in, as we've got a move potentially for Neil Cooper going past Stephen de Wolf, but he'll just have to stay behind. Bau certainly in 26th place at the moment. Castrop is out of the race, and Thiessen is... I do not see him anywhere, so he's seemingly out of the race as well. So it's going to be pretty close in that championship, but seemingly Dynamics edging it at the moment. So Rob Thiessen, of course, is up in 15th place. So at the moment, RevMatch Esports will win every single team's championship. As we speak, they will beat Dynamics Racing to that bronze class title. So it could be a clean sweep for them, and also the gold class championship in the drivers as well.
Absolutely, Sam. Cooper, of course, his car has to feel something from those hits, but is very close to the Wolf and trying to make the pass as Ian Roots and Obden in a big fight. These two Mercedes with Theisberg waiting in the wings. Of course, let's not forget that I think Ian was going to be rated silver for this season, but then due to the way the teams came about in his the pairings in his team, you cannot have a pairing of two drivers from different classes, no? So he basically put himself as a gold driver. So really, he should be in the fight for the silver race, for the silver championship. Still holding on himself very nicely in the top 20. Good racing from Hobden there in P18, and here we go, the pass for Cooper. And at the same time, Chris Moretta gets the best of Jeremy Essels, who leading in silver, I think, not forcing the issue, doing the right thing. The same what we saw from Mujdi earlier, when he had the chance to make a pass and didn't do it because he knows that he needs to keep. And here comes Cooper on the Wolf. So something must have gone terribly wrong for Cooper, trying to make that pass there. Let's see what happened. Oh, the Wolf came back at him. Maybe here a mistake from Cooper. He must have gone a bit wide, but not necessarily too wide. So great pace from the BMW. There, great acceleration. We know how good it's on the brake, the BMW. So that was very good from the Wolf. And now he goes a bit wide, but should be able to keep the position. As Chris Warner, 6.8 seconds. He should be in the clear, Sam, and enjoy. I mean, he had to wait a bit for this victory because the closest he came was in Media Day. That was several months ago. But now he will be, if everything holds on, will be finally able to taste a little bit of the bubbly on the top step of the podium.
That's becoming a big phrase now, isn't it? Woody has very much coined that one, the bubbly.
It is a wrestling quote, but of course.
It's oh yeah, I mean,
great,
I've seen the clip. It is an amazing clip.
Yes. And
I watched
Woody,
it like 20 times on repeat the other day. It's just brilliant.
Woody, a man of culture, has made it popular here, and I appreciate him for that. But yeah, I so wanted to say it all season long. We have an issue. Oh, James Obden, that was a curse and a half. It could have ended the season without me cursing some drivers. And here we go, Obden from 19th. He drops into 21st position. Let's see what happens. So he got passed by Roots there. Then a little bit of a spin. Then some contact with Vervecchi. Not a big contact, but you know, I think he left his foot on the gas. And his car spun and hit the wall there. Cooper and the Wolf. The Wolf was completely sideways there. And he's defending hard his 13th position, which would also grant him, well, no matter what, it will grant him podium, third step on the podium in the silver class. You can see, maybe you can feel it on the straight, Sam. Despite looking okay, this Mercedes of Cooper must have some damage, some underlying damage, and it's impossible to be otherwise because of the big hits he got earlier in the race.
Yeah, it's making it so difficult to overtake the car ahead. Of course, around this circuit, it's very much kind of corner straight. He's got to get it done in an infield section and then straight away pull away afterwards. He's way faster through the corner. He's got fresher tyres, remember, Neil Cooper, some 45-minute fresher tyres. Just cannot use them as we speak. Just behind them, Rob Thiessen, of course, second place out of the bronze drivers. Now a long way off Dries Mujdi. They were fighting earlier on, but about 10 seconds between the two of them now. As Cooper gets into the slipstream, doubt he's going to have a chance at the end of this Wellington straight. You can see that car just losing a little bit of time as he goes for a bit of a lunge. The Wolf leaves him plenty of room. That was very generous there. Warner wouldn't, of course, contacts by any means, but the Wolf just thinking wiser of it and does let past the faster car eventually. This is the tightest battle for the top positions. A couple of drivers who we haven't seen too much of. Chris Moretta, he's very quietly had a brilliant race, up 5 places from his start, running in 7th place, only 2.8 seconds behind PJ Clayson's, who's catching up to Kevin van der Slick after the damage that van der Slick picked up earlier on. I seem to remember myself saying that will be the end of van der Slick's race. He's still running in 5th place, but he's getting caught by these drivers. Clayson's. He will actually catch him, I think, towards the end. He, on that last lap, was 8 tenths faster than Kevin van der Slick on that last lap, which, considering that van der Slick is missing the majority of his car, is extremely impressive. But, yeah, Clayson should just about make it with a couple of laps to go. Don't think Murata and Hessels will quite make it. There is Hessels. That was slow from Murata on corner entry, slow and fast out, but that was taking it to the extreme. And look at the front end that BMW has. So much more grip, it seems, for him, a lot more confidence, but down the straights, not being able to make much of an impression. Squaring off of that left field's corner, though. Intersection in this straight, just not long enough. Not a big enough braking zone at the end of it, despite the glance that he has. Now he's pretty much got to wait till Stowe to have another attempt.
So, Sam, fantastic fight. We all know who is going to be the driver of the season. Sorry. We need to start thinking about the driver of the day, and so we will reveal that when the race is over. There are many candidates today and many possible drivers who had a fantastic race. One of them is here, Lewis Ward, starting from the pits basically, starting from the pits. And he was able to make it up to P9. Fantastic driving from him. So, but also of course Van Loosenord had a great race. Sadly, another driver who had a great race was Omans, but it was tarnished by his action that led to the disqualification earlier in this event. Both Ball and Chris Warner, of course, is having a fantastic race there at the front of the pack. Many possible candidates. You will have the big task to pick the driver of the day as we are heading into the final 4 minutes, sadly, of the season, in what has been a season to remember for the championship, for Rev Match and Martin van Loosenord. Let's see if it's going to be a season to remember for Jeremy Hessels and Dries Mujdi.
Yep, because the championship is going their ways. Both, well, actually, it would be quite nice if Martin won today, just because then we'd have each of the 3 championship winners winning their classes at the last race. And of all the people to upset that, you wouldn't have expected it to be Martin van Liesnoord, to be honest. But at the moment, he's letting the side down. He's 6 seconds behind. He was slower on that last lap by 7/100ths of a second. And doesn't look like he's going to get anywhere close enough. This circuit has won at before, of course, the ARL British GT Championship. Got a slowdown, I believe, in race 1, which kind of ruined his chances from pole position, but then got a very good race 2. Look at the timing. 3 more minutes to go as Chris Warner crosses the line. So we will have this lap and then 1 more to finish off the season. Van Liesnoord tries to catch him with all his might, but it's not going to happen at the moment. Bod Boland running in 3rd place. So let's go and see what this is going to do for the championship in terms of the overall stakes, because it's been a good battle for the top 3 places. So it seems as though Kevin van der Slick will finish in 2nd place in the title. Chris Warner very close in 3rd place, however. Matthias de Tiede unfortunately couldn't make it today. He will hang on to 4th place though. Then it will be Boland in 5th. He will get ahead of Tom Metherell because of this round. And also Ewan Marshall will, well, apart from that, yeah, will probably pretty much stay the same. So it looks like it'll be Van Liesnoord, Van der Slick and Warner, your top 3 in the overall championship as it stands. We really need
yeah.
So
Yeah, we need the projection, championship projection.
We
yes.
I want to have the old 08 kind of graphic. It completely not fits in with our other graphics, but just 08 is it Glock flashbacks would just be too good to resist.
One day I will tell you the story of how I actually reacted to that. But it's a story for another time, because we don't have enough time to tell this to you, because we have only 1 minute and 15 seconds left. Our race leader Chris Warner will take the white flag this time around. He goes past the Excite car of Lee Woodburn, and here we go, final corner for him. Here comes the white flag on this extraordinary season 5 of the Simracersworld GT Pro Series. And Claessen's now getting past Van der Slick, who has to wave the white flag himself, sadly for another reason. That car not in top conditions. He will have to fight hard to hold on to 6th, because Chris Moretta is also coming. All good for Jeremy Hessels, who's about to bring home the silver title. Same goes for Dries Mujdi, who's in the lead of his class, just like Hessels, about to win a very well-deserved bronze title. He really made it difficult for himself, especially at the start of the season, and it was very tough to come back from those mistakes in a very tight field, but he was able to do so. I think there is also a message from the stewards that Neil Cooper's race will be reviewed after the race.
Of course, their hands are slightly tied. It's that whole issue of it's the final race of the season, so maybe some points penalties could be rewarded, but exactly give a drive through for the next race. Van der Slick, I don't think he knows what giving up means. He's trying to get back past PJ Clayton's, despite, well, you can see for yourself. Muret's only half a second behind, might be able to nick that 7th place off him. But out in the lead, Chris Warner, who in his first ever season, in his first ever race, before the season even started in the medium day, turned up, put it on pole position, led for many laps. Well, since then, he hasn't led too many, but he has led pretty much all of them today. And he rounds the final corner, and he wins the season finale of the Dynamic Simracersworld GT Series. Chris Warner wins his first ever race in the series. Congratulations to the car number 76. An incredible comeback from Marks van Liesnoord, car number 1, to win the title, as we already knew, in 2nd place. Bod Bernard will round out the podium. Who's going to be in 5th place? Methor is 4th, Clayton's 5th, and Kevin van der Slick will hang on to 2nd place in the championship and 5th place on the track as he crosses the line, just beating, 6th place on the track, beating Chris Moretta. Here comes Jeremy Hessels, though. He was top of the one of the top drivers in the silver category last season. This season, he is at the very top. He wins the silver class title, and that is hugely deserved. Many race victories, and that is a brilliant way to cap it off as well, with an 8th place overall. And here comes Dries Mujdi, a driver who struggled in the early rounds, despite always being one of the fastest drivers in that class. Wasn't quite going his way, but this second half of the season, he's amended those issues, and he's going to round the final corner, and he is going to win the bronze title. Dries Mujdi rounds out your champions for Season 5 of the Dynamic Simracersworld GT Championship. And 3 very deserving winners, undoubtedly. Of course, Mujdi and Hessels will get promoted to the higher up class for next season. But for now, they can absolutely do as many donuts as they like. Needs to turn the traction controller, but I imagine that will help Dries a little bit. Hessels has got it though, that BMW. Celebrating, and all the drivers. Fantastic scenes here at Silverstone as the season comes to a close.
Beautiful scene of the 2 champions there in silver and bronze doing the donuts. Luckily, they're not doing like my friend Michele Costantini did in the open wheel Indy 500. He won it for Apex Racing Team Sunday, and when he was taken through the donuts, he smashed the car into the wall.
Wow. Ha!
In this triumph of smoke that you can see there in the first corner, time to bring you the race results for the final time in this season.
Yes, and it's Chris Warner who wins out from pole position to the race win. That was a brilliant drive from Chris Warner. Martin Nord finishes in second place, 5 seconds behind in the end. Bod Bolens was in third, 16.6 seconds further back, but a very good podium from Bod. There's Tom Metherall, PJ Claysons, Kevin Van Slick, Chris Muretta, and Jeremy Hessels, 8th place overall and winner of the silver title. Lewis Ward, Ewan Marshall round out the top 10. Brilliant drive from Ward as well from last place. Started from the pits, but did miraculously to get back up into 9th place in the end. Yeah, Marshall in 10th. Then it was Ben Thane's second place out of the silver drives. Giants Mushti wins the bronze class title. He was certainly the class of that field in the end, in 12th place overall. Then it was Neil Cooper, Stephen DeWolf, Stu Musselwhite, Rob Thiessen, Seb Herberer, Ian Roots, Roy Vertke, Ingmar Anderson, Thijs Berg, William Bush, James Hobden. That was all the drivers on the lead lap. One lap down was Lee Woodburn, Pim Bow, Bram Van Oitzven, and Marvin. That was all the drivers one lap down. And then the Tyrese, Marvin Amonts, Ronald Moons, Steve Clays, Ben Llewellyn, Danny Crows, Stephen Castrop, Kevin Boland, Colin Carasani, and Ruben Van Buell. 35 drivers took the start, and pretty much 26 took the finish. It was a fantastic way to cap off the season. And we're going to have some interviews with some of the drivers. And for once, the first man we're not going to have it with. The first man we're going to have a chat with is not Martin Mellus, not because he did not win. Instead, this man won, Bod Bolens. In third place was
Did he?
Bod Bolens. Oh dear, I
It's
should
the
have got
final
the
race
hang
of the
this
season.
now.
Don't worry, it happens.
Well, we'll have a chat with Bod Boland first. And Bod, a terrific result. Third place, third on the grid. You had some pretty nice battles as well out there.
Yeah, it was a good race. Long race. Starting to get a bit of motion sickness there. I don't know where that was coming from, but I haven't even got a rift. I've just a single screen, but I was getting a bit wobbly near the end.
Yeah, you seem to be fighting really tight with kind of Chris in the early stage. You were about 3 seconds behind, and then the gap just seemed to open up a little bit after the pit stops. Was that just due to the motion sickness, as you said, or maybe the rising track temperatures?
No, that was just a lack of talent. Chris was. I was close to Chris early on, but I was making little mistakes, not being able to see the apexes, so I purposely dropped back a little bit. But then Kevin was put me under quite a bit of pressure, and he went past me in the pit stops, and he was going away from me. To be fair, I had no answer to Kevin, but unfortunately, he had a bit of a meeting with the wall.
Yes, and that promotes you back up to third place when Martin came screaming up to the back of you. Were you thinking about fighting him too much because his pace out there as normal was pretty epic?
Yeah, I drove really well. I stayed with him for one corner, and then he'd gone. He's just on a different planet.
Absolutely, it's pretty much insane. But how was the Silverstone circuit actually? I don't know. Of course, the first time the series has visited this newer circuit. Is it one that you enjoy? Have you got much experience around here?
No, that's the first race I've done on it. I put quite a lot of laps in through the week in practice. I always do quite a bit of practice, but I worked hard at this, and for some reason I had a bit of pace. It's quite a good track to drive, but it gets really tough when the tyres have gone. The Mercedes tyres seem to drop off like off a cliff. 1 minute they're all right, next minute they're really, really struggling. So I was just glad to bring it home and get a podium.
Definitely. And in the championship, you move up to fifth place. You were 3 points behind Tom Ethel. You beat him by 1 place. I believe you'll be something like 7 points ahead of him now at the end of the season. So 5th place in the championship. I mean, I think that's a pretty incredible result considering the competition of this league, particularly what Rev Match have brought to this series. So you must be quite pleased with that.
Yeah, delighted. Me and Tom have had a few battles through the season, but Tom's a good lad. It was made up to beat him, but it could have went either way. I've just took advantage of other people's misfortune in quite a few races this season. Just got to finish the races, haven't you? Obviously.
Definitely. And going into next season, can we expect to see you back next season? And have you got any aims for next season as well?
No, it's all downhill from here. If I can finish, if I can finish in the top 10 over the course of a season, then I'd be delighted. For me to finish 5th, a few of the lads, if they raced every week, Martin Plowman, Danny Crows, and one or two others, if they raced every week, then I'd be struggling just to get into the top 10.
Well, for next season, we certainly wish you the best of luck, Bod. And can we expect to see you in the Endurance League coming up in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a little run out in the Endurance with Dion Phillips. Not here tonight, but Dion's a good lad. We'll go okay.
We wish you the best of luck for that one, Bod. Before you let go, is there any thanks you'd like to give to anyone?
Yeah, big shout out to the Red Match lads. Like I said last week, they've made me feel very welcome. They're a good bunch. I don't know what they're saying most of the time, but it's funny. Thanks to you guys at Apex Racing TV. It's brilliant every week watching ourselves back. Obviously, we Ian and the gang for the Simracersworld series. It's second to none. And a shout out to Peter Growls as well. He's taken a bit of a backward step, but without him, this league wouldn't run as smooth as it does. So, big thanks to him, and hope he's not gone for too long.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Bod, and yeah, best of luck with the future leagues that you participate in.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Really enjoyed it.
So that was Bod Bowden finishing in 3rd place today and 5th place in the championship. So Marco, who are we going to have a chat with next?
Well, we are going to have a chat with Le Champion, of course, Martin van Luzenoord. Hello, Martin.
Hello, guys. What's up?
Well, very good year. Congratulations on the championship and congratulations on a great comeback today. So, why did you start all that way back without setting a time? And how was the race in general?
Thank you. And I started from the back because I had to go to the toilet first, and that took a while. And then I thought, oh, I'll just try and start from the back, see where I end up. And it went all pretty well, I guess. I wanted to finish first, but yeah, that's not it's not always possible. You can't always throw 6. So.
So, a fantastic season for you. You won all the races you took part in except for one. I mean, first of all, are you going to come back next season? And secondly, I mean, it is going to be tough to have the same kind of success. You are putting, quote unquote, some big pressure on you for next season.
Yes, I will be back next season, of course. I hope I can do the endurance as well, but I'm not sure whether I can get a spot or not because of the amount of teammates that I've got. But otherwise, I will come back for the next season in this one, and yes, of course, I'll go for the championship again. So I'm happy to invite everyone. Yeah, give me a challenge. And I hope there will be quicker guys so I can learn from them, of course. So.
So now a bit of a break, at least from this championship. What are you going to do in the off season, at least when this league is not running?
I think I'm just going to the gym, doing some kickboxing, doing some other leagues as well, like the Apex League with the GTEs. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, probably just trying to enjoy a bit of snowflakes. I don't know. I don't know what will bring us this winter, right?
Awesome, thank you very much, Martin. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank you guys for covering this series. I'd like to thank the whole team, of course, RefMatch Esports for being there most of the time. Unlucky for some, they had some issues with the back and other stuff, personal issues, why they couldn't participate all races. But I want to thank them as well for the time they took and participated in the races. I'd like to thank UGX Racing Simulators, RB Skillworks, and Uitert. And I'd also like to thank Ian Roots and all his crew for putting up a really nice, for setting up a really nice league to be part of. So
Thank you very much, Martin. Congratulations once again. Enjoy the celebrations, and we will catch you very, very soon.
thank you, sir. See you later.
And that was Le Champion, Martin van Loosenord. And I'd say, Sam, last but not least, one final interview for this season.
Yes. By the way, we never did drive of the day.
Ah, no, we don't know the driver of the day. You should have picked the driver of the day.
Shall I do drive of the day now?
Yes, why not?
Chris Warner is your
Awesome.
driver of the day then. Winner
Yes.
today, his first ever race win. It was a coin flip between him and this guy, Ian Roots, but Ian's 18th place out there. Decent qualifying for you today, Ian, but not a fantastic start. It seemed like you went down a couple of places. We didn't quite see what happened, but it seemed to be quite chaotic in that midfield.
It was chaotic. I've not been around the guys that was around me. I didn't have the pace tonight. Obviously, you know, I've been away. I did 7 laps before the race of practice, not raced this track before. Yeah, and I shouldn't have been as far back as I was in qualifying. And of course, I've not raced with the guys, the bronze guys around me, and it was a bit fraught to say the least. I got a slowdown. I was forced off the track and ended up with a slowdown on lap 1. And then I did a self-induced slowdown on lap 2. And I think I lost 8 places in all in 2 laps. So it was just a case of fighting back from there, really. I had a really good battle with James Hobden and Roy Ververke for the whole race. And apologies for James. I gave him a bit of a love tap into the chicane. It didn't affect his race, I don't think. And then I think he went off on his own accord. I think he was fighting with Roy behind me. But well, no, I enjoyed the race. I really did enjoy the race once I'd got out of the trouble. But tyre wear here is a big factor, especially over 75 minutes. A lot of the guys were saying they had less than 20% left on the front. So, yeah, it's tough. Very, very tough track to race on over an hour.
Yeah, we saw a couple of drivers, one notable driver come into the pits. Neil Cooper came to the pits for tyres. Would you say that was a viable option, or do you think not taking tyres was the right decision?
No, not taking tyres. I think tyre wear is a big factor. I think if you'd have gone a little bit easier in the first half of the race, you'd have had them left in the second half of the race. I wasn't too bad. I'd got 42% left at the end. So I was better off than most, but I was too far back to do anything about it at the end. I was way quicker than guys in front of me, but they were just too far up the road, up 8 seconds, I think. But no, tyres definitely. I don't think in any of our races it's viable to take tyres, even in a 75-minute race. So yeah, it was just a case of manage them as best you could.
So then in previous seasons, we've tended to have one that kind of the staple circuits, so Spa or Brands Hatch as the final round. Silverstone this season.
Yep.
Kind of what was the thinking when it comes to that, and do you think it was a correct decision?
Yeah, we tried to mix it up a little bit. It was a new, as you guys know, it's a new track. It's a new track to to this season. A new track to Simracersworld, a new track to iRacing. and we could have put it in earlier on, but a lot of people didn't own it then, and a lot of people do IMSA and the Blank Pain series on iRacing or VRS or whatever it's called. And I thought we'd push it later in the season, and it just made sense. New track, and it is a good track to race on. Don't get me wrong. There's good overtaking spots as well. Um, I think it was the right decision, definitely. And like I said before, we try to mix it up. We don't want to be too stale with our track rotation, and pushing it to the end of the season, I think, was the right choice.
Yeah, certainly produced a fantastic way to end off the season. Um, and what a season it's been. I mean, I think we say it, I think I say it every single year that goes by, or every single season that goes by. I always say it's incredible the growth of this community, but it's absolutely true because, I mean, every season you don't expect it to grow quite as much as it does for the following one, and yet this season 37 or 35 drivers turning up for this final round. Brilliant retainership. A very incredible competition this season. I mean, the level of driving has gone up a whole new echelon. And it just gets better and better.
It does, yeah, and that's testament to not only those guys that sign up and race and turn up and practice every week and race every week. That's testament to the organisers. The team that I have in the background, keeping this going and keeping the momentum and the interest. Really, to be honest, I think this season's been the highest ever participation. I think it's been about 35 as an average throughout the whole season, and to maintain that level. We've had some races where we've had 45. I think while I was away, I think you had a low one. Was it Imola? I think was quite low. Was it, or Barcelona? I think it's Barcelona was quite low. But as an average, I think this season's definitely been a step up again, and obviously a step up in skill level as well. Martin bringing on board some very, very fast guys from Rev Match, and Chris Warner, Neil Cooper, Bod. They've all raised their game this season, and it is really, really tough to get inside that top 10 at any round. But yeah, it's incredible, and we're pushing on, and we're pushing on. Christmas break, and then into season 6 starting in February.
Yes. In terms of that next season, any changes that you've got an idea for? We've had a few changes over the past few seasons, kind of minor things when it comes to fuel or qualifying. Is there anything in your head that maybe we could implement? Because it's kind of already very fine tuned. It's difficult to change anything now.
No, I'm going to do, in actual fact, on that subject, I don't want to give too much away, but I'm going to, some point in the next 4 or 5 days, I'm going to be doing a live Facebook Q&A with a 2020 plan, look ahead on what the group is doing. So I don't want to give too much away because a lot of the content I want to talk about is in there. So I will put that up in the group and make everybody aware that's going on. That'll be one evening next week, I expect. But no, just minor changes, minor tweaks, small additions to rules, stuff that you discover's missing and what have you. But format staying the same. Calendar will change. We've already got the calendar fixed, and like I said, I don't want to talk too much about that. But the calendar's now been set and fixed, and I'll explain what that is next week. But no, it's just a case of let's keep it how it is, nice and tight, and continue pushing on and giving everybody a good spectacle to watch on a Wednesday night.
Definitely. And so on to the kind of larger Simracersworld picture in terms of what is coming up. We've got the intro. So are entries still open for that? Because
Yes,
they are.
yes, they are. They are still open. Obviously, I'm going to announce a little bit more and talk a little bit more about that next week. Give people a little bit more information, finalise details on that. But yeah, it's still open. People can still register for that. We've only had invited teams registered so far. The public registration will be open. Or is open now, but it officially opens on Monday of next week. So we want to get as many teams in as possible for that. So let's try and make that a success. That's being broadcast by you guys, as you know. Yeah, let's make that a success as well. So that's just 6 rounds, 1 race a month on a Sunday. Should be good. Should be really good. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got the Enduro Series, of course, coming up, and then also TCR stuff and the Development League. Of course, you can't say too much. Everything's not confirmed yet, but I mean, will those? Can you give us any kind of idea of when those series will be up and running for next year?
Yeah, everything will be announced next week. So I don't want to give too much away because I want it kind of as a Q&A session, and kind of I've got everything laid out for that. But there will be a calendar released for the entire year next year,
Oh, wow, okay.
or next week. So everybody will know when the series are registered, when you can race the series, what night of the week, what the formats are, and that's all being released for the entire year. So everybody will know where they stand, and that will be released in PDF format so that people can download that, and basically they can plan their whole year. If that's what they want to do, they can plan their whole year for all the seasons of that, for the Simracersworld organise.
So yeah, it's thanks again, Ian, for putting on such a immense championship. I'll hand the mic over to you now to go through all the shout outs you like to give to everyone.
Yeah, I don't know if you realise, but tonight there were still 2 championships undecided. The points are provisional. Anton in the background has already updated them for me tonight, so I can officially announce now that MVL Martin van Loozenord, obviously we knew, is now champion of the gold category. So congratulations to Martin, fantastic season. And his skill level is way above most of us. But he was pushed hard by Chris Warner all the season, but he's a deserving champion. So that's consecutive championships for Martin. So well done to him. Silver championship tonight. That was settled. That went right down to the wire, as it always does. And Jeremy Hessels is the champion. He pushed Ingemar into second in the final race, and won by a total of 25 points. So congratulations to Jeremy Hessels on his silver championship. That went all the way to the wire. And finally, the bronze championship, that also went to the wire. But Dries Mujdi, in an incredible second half to the season, actually was out and out winner at the end. It wasn't settled until tonight, but yeah, he's bronze champion. So congratulations to Dries as well. Well deserved bronze championship, and he'll be pushing on up to silver next season if he decides to stay around, which I'm guessing he will. He's been here since day one, so I'm hoping he's going to come, but he will find it a little bit more difficult in silver, but he's definitely within his capabilities some good results. So well done, Dries. Team championships, we've got that's finalised. We've got RevMatch Esports RB Scaleworks won the gold championship. They beat Fury Simsport into second, and Simracersworld Esports with Ruben, Greg, and Matthias. So my team, my drivers, they came third on the podium for the final position in the gold championship. In the silver team championship, we have RevMatch again taking gold, taking top spot. Steve Clays, Ben Taines, and Ingemar Anderson. They pushed Dynamics Racing 1 into second. That was pretty close right the way through that battle. So they ended up the winners. And finally, the bronze team champions this season. Dries pushed his team in. That went right down to the final round. That pushed his team into the gold position with Tees and Robbie Bouchoms for Dynamics Racing. So they are the bronze champions this season. So congratulations to everybody that competed this season. It's been fantastic. And yet again, going down to the final rounds for those 2 classes is pretty much standard for SRW series. So yeah, it's been great to watch, great to race in, and it's been, kind of with you guys, been great to participate in as well. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for that, Ian.
No problem. No problem. I say there'll be more news coming next week, so I'll announce when this Q&A live session's going up, and I will make everything clear for 2020. Let you guys know as well. If you want to join in, that's fine. Come and say hi. It will be a couple of hour session, I'm guessing, and we will discuss 2020 and what SRW's plans are for the next year.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us. Hopefully your honeymoon was and the wedding was very good. I'm sure it was. It looks
Yes.
very good from the photos.
Yes, it was fantastic. Thank you very much.
And thanks for putting on this series, for giving us a job, and we'll see you next season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Marco.
So that was Ian Roots, driver for Sim Racers World, and also the main organizer of this championship. So Marco, we said it at the start. I think I said I wouldn't cry, but well, this is going to be tough because the end of season 5 of this championship. The good news is that it will return quite soon, couple of months away, and we've got the Enduro series coming up. But yeah, just a word on what the championship that has just passed. Mats Meluson absolutely dominating, no doubts about that. I mean, number one, what an incredible performance from him, and no doubt he really ought to be a stable pro driver because he's of that talent. And then everyone else has produced some enthralling racing all season long. There hasn't been a single bad round, and there's been a couple of absolute classics.
The first thing I can say is what are we going to do with our Wednesday nights from now on?
Yeah.
But apart from that, I completely agree with you. The champions were all super deserving, each in their own merit field of merit. Of course, the way Martin won the title was complete dominance. The other two guys had to fight until the very last lap to be sure of their title. But I agree with you. Every round was great in this championship. We had a lot of fun in the booth. Once again, and I'm speaking honestly right now, a bit sad that the season is over, but big smile because new season coming next in a couple of months, and of course enduro season is coming as well, and the enduro season of course will put this driver in a little bit of a different condition with different cars, multi-class. If we learned something about Simracersworld, thank you Bardelman, thank you to you and the rest of the guys at Simracersworld. If there is something that we know about Simracersworld, they know how to organize a championship. So I am so ready for this enduro season to start. It is going to be tough for us. Let's not be, because it's going to be some very long broadcasts. But when you cover this championship and these leagues, done this well, even a 6-hour broadcast goes by pretty quickly because the racing is great, the atmosphere is great, the drivers are great, and we enjoy it a lot. So thank you to everyone who has watched us. It was personally my first ever full-time job on the iRacing Esports Network, and I cannot. I don't want to lie to you. I was a bit nervous before the start of the season, but all went well. I'm very happy about it. I had a lot of fun. So thank you, Sim Racers World. Thank you to everyone who has watched us. Thank you, Sam. And I think finally it's time to wrap this thing up and time to think about the new season.
Yes, I think so. So just once again, um, well done to RevMatch Esports. I think the clean sweep of the teams championships. Well done to Martsman Loosenord, to Jeremy Hessels, and to Dries Mujti as well. And of course, keep an eye out on the Sim Racers World community. So there's a fantastic Facebook group that you can try to join. There's also a Facebook page with some decent updates. And yeah, to keep an eye out on their website as well for signups. Of course, the Enduro League, if you fancy like taking part in some endurance action. GT3 cars, GT4 cars, the Porsche Cup car, and the TCR car. So thoroughly recommend getting involved in that. And of course, the series will be back in a couple of months' time. Of course, do subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network. Plenty more action on this channel. So if you won't mind, please subscribe to Apex Racing TV. But for now, from me and from Michael, from the Season 5 of the Sim Racers World GT Championship, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.